And we are joined by the Democratic nominee in the U.S. congressional race for Texas District 15, Michelle Vallejo. That's a district now that goes from Hidalgo County, right on the Texas-Mexico border, all the way up to Seguin. They call it the Texas Needle. It's a very long, thin district, and it's a lot of travel. I'm assuming you're getting a lot of mileage in these days. Where does your campaign stand right now?
Yeah, so I'm in this fight because I'm fighting for our hardworking families of South Texas to make sure that they get what they need to live good quality lives. So I know that means fighting for access to affordable health care. I know that means fighting for good paying jobs and good education. And something that I'm really excited about in this fight for Congress is I also get to honor my own mother's legacy. So growing up, since I was very young, about 4 years old, my mom got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And it was a long journey. It was a hard journey where my family and I had to travel many times outside of South Texas, also into Mexico, to get the care that she needed. And she passed away very young, and I know that our families are experiencing situations that are just as hard. And so I'm in this fight to get things done for South Texas. And as far as my campaign goes, we are building momentum and strength every single day as we get closer and closer to November.
So what are you doing right now? Is it block walking, fundraising? Those are the two things that people probably don't want to have to do, but you know, it's very important in the race. Are you doing those things?
Absolutely. I will say that those are some of my favorite activities, knocking on doors and talking to people about what is top of mind for them. And so what we're hearing is people are concerned about being able to afford very basic things like keeping the lights on at the end of the month and being able to bring food home. But something that's very critical that we're hearing from people here in Texas 15 as well is the fight for reproductive freedom, the fight for our freedoms and liberty, and we're not going to stand by. So I do want to invite everybody to our campaign, to this fight for our South Texas families, and people could find me online at Michelle for tx15.com.
All right, okay. Now, another question. Your opponent, Monica de la Cruz, the incumbent, was just on. She said that you won by a wide margin last time, and she envisions she'll win by a wide margin this time. Do you think that there's any truth to that?
So I am saying focus on getting the hard work done, and that's what we're going to do every step of the way. I beat my opponent, Monica de la Cruz, here in Hidalgo County by close to 57%, and we all know that the battleground for this seat is in Hidalgo County. And so I'm excited to be already working with our community members and working with people throughout the entire district because they are unhappy with what's going on in Congress. They are unhappy with Monica de la Cruz's voting record, which she's made it very clear to us that she's willing to jeopardize Social Security and Medicare, for example, also willing to jeopardize funds for public education and access to healthcare for our veterans, people who are retired, and people who are having very hard time affording things right now. So I'm not concerned at all, and we're going to stay focused and keep fighting very hard all the way until we flip this seat.
And we can assume she's going to be disputing the statistics you have there. But now, moving on here, another issue here is immigration. That seems to be why so much of the country or so much of the world is focusing on these districts. Probably the most notable races down here in the Valley would be Texas District 15 and Texas District 34 between Flores and Gonzales. And a lot of that, in fact, probably all of that has to do with the immigration issue. Is that something you're hearing a lot from the voters? And what's your stance on immigration? Do we need to get tougher now to keep people from crossing?
Yeah, so my stance on immigration is that we need to get things done for South Texas. We need to make sure that we are bringing resources and everything necessary for the people at the front lines to keep our border safe and secure. But we also know that it's time to pass comprehensive immigration reform that allows for legal, safe immigration. And I know that my opponent, Monica de la Cruz, wants to play games when it comes to these challenges. She is not serious about getting things done for South Texas, and I'm ready to roll up my sleeve, work in a bipartisan way, and get things done and bring solutions to our home.
Okay, so now quick question now. If you introduce a bill in the U.S. House that gets through, and it's for comprehensive immigration reform, is it just DOA in the Senate?
Absolutely not. So what we're excited about, and in my fight for Congress, is being able to work across the aisle. Somebody who I'm looking forward to working with is Senator John Cornyn, for example, who actually has a bipartisan gun bill that I think would move the needle to getting things done getting solutions that our families know that we need. So I'm ready to get to work across the aisle. I'm ready to work with the Senate and ready to bring home a lot of the resources that we've been lacking for far too long.
Okay, and I'm assuming you're talking to a lot of people out there on the campaign trail. What else are you hearing? I'm assuming inflation is another issue you're hearing a lot about. People just can't afford to buy the groceries, can't afford to buy the houses and the cars like they used to.
Absolutely. So I'm a small business owner, and our family business is a flea market.
Yeah.
I've grown up serving many hardworking families and small businesses here in South Texas, so I know these struggles are not new. People have always had a very hard time being able to afford a good quality life here in South Texas, and that has a lot to do with the lack of investment in good paying jobs, lack of investment in education, and just more opportunities to make sure that our families are able to create a good life here and stay here in South Texas. And so those are issues that our community members are paying attention to very, very much. But what they're seeing more clearly than anything is that Monica de la Cruz has a voting record she cannot run away from. And she's making it very clear that she doesn't want to get things done, whether working in a bipartisan way or putting the families of South Texas first before her party politics.
Do you think spending is the reason for inflation, government spending, and that maybe that if elected you could roll back spending in any way?
You know, I think that there are many reasons for inflation, but something that I know for sure can cut costs for our families here in South Texas is expanding access to affordable health care. We know very well that many families are 1 or 2 trips away from the hospital, away from falling into debt, and that needs to stop. I know that we could bring solutions today to South Texas to alleviate these pressures, decrease the expenses that people are feeling in their pocketbooks, and allowing them to live a good life here in South Texas.
Got bad news for you. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us, but I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot in the months to come. Michelle Vallejo, thank you so much.